Okay, we are back. So we're just gonna continue where we left off yesterday. Okay, so chapter 7, boys. Chapter 7 is all about how the economy is connected, how all of these things. Like, how many of you know where your clothes are made from? A couple of you. You've read the labels here and there, right? So, have you ever thought about the person who makes your clothes? Have you ever thought about what kind of life they might live? They have decent living conditions or working conditions. And you know, fair enough, like why would you, right? You just go to the mall, you buy a shirt or whatever you're buying. But every time you buy something, it connects you to a group of people. So let's say your shirt is made in China. You know, maybe it came to North America on a ship. Maybe it used a train, a truck, a boat, a plane, something like that. So those are all a group of people. You know, maybe it got stored in a warehouse for a while and then somebody picked it up and moved it. I used to work with a UPS. You know, for anyone who's ever gotten anything in the mail, I'm assuming Amazon's very similar. So for a while, my job was just to move boxes. I would take boxes from the big 53-foot truck trailer, and we had a little like a little rolling ramp, and we would just move boxes and roll them down, and they would go on a conveyor belt into a bunch of trucks. There's about 30 to 45 people in the morning at 3 a.m. show up and they empty out all these boxes, right? And we don't really know where this stuff is made, who's involved in that process. Additionally, do shirts grow on trees? No, right? There's fibers, right? So somebody goes and grows that fiber. Maybe it's a cotton tree or cotton or wool, whatever it is. Somebody has to gather that. So I was just listening to a podcast on this, but you know, all of these things are very interconnected. So when you choose to buy something, you're actually helping out, I don't know, like a dozen people potentially, right? A dozen people could be involved in the process of getting something as simple as your shirt to you. Snack bin items, not everybody gets paid to bring them to you. So here's just a little sample, you know, if you were to consider your pen. So plastics are actually from my understanding, they're an oil and gas product, funny enough. So that plastic comes from some sort of plastic supplier, a chemical plant. There's a group of people who make that, okay? The little bits of metal comes from a mine, right? So if there's metal in your pencil or pen, right? So that little eraser bit, I don't know what metal that is, but that comes from a mine, you know, deep in the earth somewhere. They dig it up, and it doesn't come all nice and shaped like that. It comes in a very crude-looking lump of metal that needs to be burned and melted down and reshaped and reformed, right? And people get hired to do all these things, right? So if you're bored sitting here at school, you know, just imagine someone is just pushing a piece of metal along a conveyor line because they're making sure that the machine flattens it out properly and that it doesn't go flying, right? You know, people do that. You have somebody else who assembles it and puts it together in some factory somewhere, right? So again, a lot of you have an iPhone, right? It's designed in California, but it's produced in China, right? And somebody's putting together all the parts and making sure it fits together. Someone is checking to see that when you turn the iPhone on, that it actually turns on, that the screen works, there's no damage on it, okay? And then they put it into a box, and that box gets put onto some sort of truck or train or boat or plane, and it moves to the other parts of the world. It gets to a store where someone tries to convince you to buy it or to, I don't know, get whatever upgrade instead of getting the, what is the smallest storage space on an iPhone now? Like 64 gigs. Man, back in my day, they started at 8, and that was a lot. Now you have 64. How many of you have a very full memory card? Yeah, a lot of you, right? Your phone is full, filled with memes, I hope. Okay. So people are trying to sell you this stuff, and then eventually you get it, right? How many of you have taken your old phone and like sold it to someone else? I've done that. No one? So what do you kids, so for those of you who don't, what do you do with your old phone? You throw it out.
Give it to my family.
Give it to someone else. What's up? Yeah.
I break it to see what's inside of it.
So why not just take like $200 and rip it?
Because you can't rip $200, it's too strong.
Like modern money, yeah. What do you do?
Keep it for like a spare phone if that phone were to break or stop working in some way.
Okay, okay.
What I'm gonna do with my old phone, since my old phone took a swim, I'm gonna take it to the either the Eco Station or the Apple Store to recycle it.
Don't take it to them. They're not gonna give you anything for it. Sell it to somebody on Kijiji.
It's completely dead.
Someone will buy it.
It's a dud.
No, right? So,
Yes, it's a dud. I charged it. Nothing.
you know, a lot of the stuff we buy, the end of its life cycle is when we throw it out. When we get rid of it.
Well, it died because it took a swim and
But-
the screen was cracked.
As Gary Vee would say, you're losing money. You could go online, you could sell your old phone. Make sure you wipe the memory clean, right? Like, don't give them like your phone. Like, do factory reset, give it to the person. You know, maybe you make $50 to $100, right? Buy yourself something nice. Don't spend it all in one place, you know, kids? And all of this stuff has an impact on the environment. So, you know, people really love their Teslas we talked about yesterday. But the cobalt and the minerals used to make those batteries, you actually have to dig very deep into the ground. Maybe I'll find like a cobalt mine photo later. Right, so people get really upset at oil and gas. Like, oh, look at this, it's so bad. You have to like dig up a big hole in the ground. But if you want rare minerals, rare metals, like you have to dig up a big hole in the ground and like, you gotta cut all the trees, you gotta process everything. Now, but the difference between, let's say with oil, is sometimes they use water, like, in the process, and then that water is not really usable afterwards, which is unfortunate, because we only have so much clean drinking water, right? Or unsalted water. Yes?
You know why you can only find like certain minerals and rocks and stuff at certain depths of the earth?
Come on, you gotta get to the bottom.
Yeah, but like why is it not like spread out? Like why is like cobalt so far down and not like spread out everywhere? If it's just
That's, you know, when we were talking about Minecraft,
kick them out.
that question is beyond my expertise, unfortunately. You could probably ask Mr. Murphy about that, he might know, maybe I'll ask him, but, one is that some metals are just very rare, right? You're not gonna find a lot of them, so gold is one. Gold is actually very rare. And I was listening to a podcast, someone was saying that gold is, or like copper, for example, right? So pennies, I believe pennies used to be made out of copper. And they were discussing, man, if you're that bored, you could just wait outside. This person was saying that copper is about 1/268th, something like that, the price of gold per ounce, let's say. And then if you study all of these metals in the earth, like that's how much more copper there is in the ground than gold as well. So gold is quite rare, right? Why they're at certain depths, it could relate to pressure, so diamonds. Like you take coal, carbon rather, and it needs a lot of pressure. So you wouldn't find one just at the surface unless somebody left it there, right? So it's a lot of geology, and I'm not very familiar with geology. You know what geology is?
Yeah, that's like the study of geological rock.
Study of Earth.
Study of Earth.
Yeah, more or less, that's close enough.
Welcome to Earth.
I'll ask Mr. Murphy. I'll see if he knows. We could also ask Google. Okay. Anyways, all of these things that we buy have some sort of environmental impact. Some things have more, some things have less, right? Like for example, well, I guess you kids wouldn't know. Have any of you gone with your parents to do an oil change on your car? A couple of you, right? So that oil, you're not allowed to just dump anywhere, right? Because
You gotta drink it.
What's that?
You gotta drink it.
Don't drink it, kids. It'll kill you. it will actually kill you. No, this is engine oil, not like olive oil. You can drink olive oil. Wouldn't recommend it, like, probably upset your stomach, but, yeah, you know, so, for example, grade 9's like, you're not allowed to just take this oil and dump it anywhere. Why do you think that is? Bad for the environment, right? You know, same with batteries. Batteries aren't good for the environment. Like, you don't just throw them out, they could start on fire and whatnot, right? So batteries, you're actually supposed to take to an eco center, right, so that they can properly dispose of it. Oh, come on, man, I already did my attendance. What can they want? Who do you think they're calling down? Actually, don't say this. Hello? Okay.
Who was it?
For our friend who was walking home. Well, I can't say this. He's kind of tall, blonde hair.
He walks funny.
Why would you say that? So mean.
Because he does.
I should move on. If I told you how, like, there's a particular mineral, there's a particular substance, metal substance, that they use in phones and devices that creates the vibration.
How?
If I told you about it, why?
Why? Why is it?
Again, this is not my expertise, I'm not a scientist.
White t-shirt about it.
I'm teaching you about it because of the, so, you know, it's obviously it's very important to consider environmental impacts, but it's also important to consider negative human impacts. Why are you breaking your pencil?
It's not a pencil, and it's not mine.
It was.
And he broke it.
Okay. So it's also important to take into account the human impact, right? So not a lot of you knew where your clothes were from, or some of you might have said China, right? Okay, well, when I was growing up, I don't know how familiar you kids are with this, but when I was growing up, kind of when I was your age, we would talk about these things called sweatshops. You kids know what those are?
Yeah.
So what are they? Just quickly explain. What's a sweatshop?
They're like they mass produce, they make lots of things and they're very poor working conditions.
Okay, poor working conditions, right? So a sweatshop is somewhere where someone is working, but they work in terrible working conditions, right? So they might have to work 12, 14 hours. They might not get any breaks in the workday. You know, they might not have any, they absolutely don't have any benefits from their job. They're probably getting paid very little, less than like a couple dollars a day. Okay, so that along with that mineral I was talking about, so it's important to also consider the origin of, you know, what you're buying. And maybe not so much to actually do something about it, but to at least be aware, because some of these things are very difficult to avoid. Right, so a lot of minerals in batteries and whatnot, as far as I'm aware, particularly like the Tesla thing, because I was just listening to something about this not that long ago. You know, they're produced from labor, from human work, very terrible human conditions for people to work in, right? And why am I telling you this? This is a good question. You know, as much as we're concerned about the environment, and we should be, you know, we should also be somewhat concerned, I would imagine, about, you know, what is the state of treatment that these people get for helping supply and produce this stuff. You know, what could be done to make that better? Right, so a lot of that mineral that makes your phone vibrate, or that metal, it's only found in one small part of the world, in Africa, from my understanding. And even the cobalt mines, I believe they were, for the batteries that go in Tesla, a lot of them are in Africa. And unfortunately, in a lot of these mines, these places, there's no human rights given to these people, right? And a lot of them are working in terrible conditions. So this video that I saw was, you're basically looking out to an open field, except there's no grass, and people are using small hand tools, and they're digging through the dirt and whatnot and sifting this material. And there's probably like, 1,000 people in something like the size of that soccer field out there, right? You've all been to the soccer field. And they're working in this open air condition, and there's no discrimination of age, right? So there's children working there, there's adults working there, and it's really terrible conditions. And so, coming back to that point yesterday of, sometimes we buy things to make ourselves feel better, but it's also good to pay attention to the origins of how these things are produced. Although, you're only in grade 9, so that's not really a problem for your life right now. Okay? But it's something to be aware of, it's something to consider. And so why I mentioned sweatshops is, I forget the author of this book, but I listened to him talk. And he wrote this book where he makes an argument that, are sweatshops a good thing?
Yes.
Now, if you have any shred of empathy, you might say, no, it's horrible, like people shouldn't work in that condition, right? But then his argument is like, what is the alternative? So is having a job better than not having a job?
Yeah,
Likely true, right?
I think.
Well, think about it, having a source of income, as horrible as it might be, at least allows you to buy some food, maybe keep a roof over your head, right? And in this book, I remember this guy talked about how, yeah, you have these terrible working conditions, but he followed the stories, or kind of interviewed a bunch of people and created a fake story based on their experiences. But one of the characters in this book is a woman in like a South Asian country, potentially, I don't even know exactly where, but her story is that by working in that sweatshop, by working in these terrible labor conditions, she was able to afford enough money to live on her own, which meant that for her and her life and her culture, she didn't have to get married off by her parents to someone, like an arranged marriage, and potentially live a life where she has no freedom and no choice. Working this terrible job allowed her to, rent out her own apartment, to buy like a little moped, and to have a little bit of extra money on the side to be able to support herself and to live her own life the way she wanted to. And so it is complicated, right? Like, how does progress happen? So, 200, you guys know what the Industrial Revolution is, right? We're somewhat aware of this. So the Industrial Revolution mostly occurred in Europe 200 years ago, where they started using more machinery, to explain it simply. And it was significantly easier to produce things. And, I was just listening to this guy speak this morning. I was just listening to it on my way to work. His name is Bjorn Lomborg, and he's talking about how, 200 years ago, everybody on the planet, like 90 to 95% of people were poor. Right, like less than $1 a day type of thing, which, majority of people are not that poor anymore. Most people make more money. But, progress didn't happen everywhere linearly, right? Like, there are still some places in the world where they have very terrible human conditions there. And so it is complicated, right? Like, progress takes time. So maybe the first step is that you have like sweatshops and horrible working conditions for people, so that at least they can go from 0 to 1, right? And then from 1, then maybe they can go from 2, right? And as it was explained to me, like the difference between 1 to 2 is not that big, but going from 0, nothing, to 1 is a huge leap. Question? Sure. So products, just like ideas, need marketing. And so for this guy, Bjorn Lomborg, I would really recommend, if you're interested, particularly, in the climate and how to make the earth a better place. He's written a couple really good books. One was named How to Spend $75 Billion to Make the World a Better Place. But these ideas, these theories need to be marketed, right? So what is marketing, generally speaking? I know you already have the slide up. Anyone want to take a guess? What is the most basic thing? It's already on the board.
Advertisement.
Advertisement. Okay. So who does marketing? For what? Do you think you're marketing yourself right now?
Yeah,
Yes. Why is that?
I don't know, I don't know.
Okay. Well, let's hear your thoughts. You're arguing yes. Why?
I don't know, I just.
No. Produce an argument now. Come on, think about it. Do you think you're marketing yourself right now?
Because of like you try to dress nice to make yourself look good?
Sure, the way you dress, make yourself look good. And what might that do for you?
It might make you want to make other people like you more.
They might like you more, right?
Or like, so
If you go to a job interview and you're well dressed, maybe your boss thinks, hey, this person's put together, we should hire them. Okay. How else do you market yourself?
I like the way you act.
The way you act, right? So if you're bouncing off the walls, jumping on desks, did you just point to him?
No.
If you're bouncing off the walls, jumping on desks, what is that? What would you think of someone doing that? You think they're weird, right?
And
Totally.
immature.
They're immature. How else do we market ourselves? So we have the way we dress, the way we act. Is there another way that people market themselves?
The way they speak.
The way they speak, right? And how so?
Like if you're aggressive or like your volume.
If you're very aggressive. And what would help you understand if a person's being aggressive just by the words?
Like their body language and their tone.
Their body language, their tone of voice, their volume, and then maybe the words they choose, right?
Yeah.
If someone's swearing all the time, is that someone you want around your parents potentially?
Yeah.
Not at all, not you, that's for sure, right?
Your mom really loves
Let's say you have a friend that
Your mom.
you kids understand the word vulgar,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So let's say you have a friend who's very vulgar. They talk about gross things all the time. Is that someone you want to introduce to your other friends?
Oh.
Of course. Of course you would say that. Right? So people market themselves in a variety of ways. Right? How you choose to do your hair, what clothes you wear, how you speak, how you stand, right? So body language can not only express someone who is angry, right, but it can express a lot of things. So the way I'm sitting right now might express that I'm very relaxed. I don't know. Kids tell me, right? Yes, what's up?
Another way we market ourselves is what we buy.
Sure, right? So that could be associated with how we dress, what we buy. And do you want to expand on that thought?
Like, if you buy like, and I'm just throwing it out there, I don't actually do this, vapes or cigarettes, what does that say about you?
Sure, right? Somebody catches you going into a weed shop, you're marketing some of your behavior, right? Or if you carry a vape, sure, you're marketing something about who you are. What do you think it says if somebody's carrying a basketball around all the time?
They're sporty.
They're sporty, they're an athlete. They like basketball, right? Some of you boys and girls, well, girls as well, but some of you boys in particular, you wear metal chains. Why do you do that? I don't know if anyone else has one on, I can't see.
Mine's broken.
Maybe in the other class.
No, it's fashion.
It's fashion. But I thought wearing necklaces was kind of strange for men, no?
This is actually a chain that I got from my grandma
Crazy,
for my
Chris.
confirmation.
That's
crazy.
So I have to wear it.
No.
So why do you wear the why do you wear the, I don't know, what do you call it? Necklace, chain? Oh, you're wearing one too.
I would too.
Why do you wear one? You can answer as well. It looks good, right? Why do you wear one? It looks good. So are you waiting to upgrade to a gold chain?
No.
How many? What you just said that.
It's true. It's true. Silver looks so much better. I do.
Okay. How many of you would wear like a gold necklace? Or like a gold chain? A couple of you. Okay. And what about you? You're wearing a necklace as well.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's a bead necklace, or what would you call this? Just a necklace. So did you wear it because you thought it goes together with the outfit, or because you like it?
I don't really like taking off my necklaces. I keep the necklace on all the time.
You wear that every day. You learn something new, right? So people market themselves in a variety of ways, right? But companies market their products as well. But it's more important, like it's better to think of this through how you market yourself and what that could do for you, right? And learning that skill can make your life significantly better.
Thank you so much.
What's so funny over here?
What is so hilarious?
I don't even know what
Nick Avis. Nick Avis.
What's say that again?
Okay, got it.
So there's a variety of marketing methods. For whatever reason, I don't know, the curriculum, these package of notes, the textbook just focuses on these couple. But you know, we've probably all heard of the bandwagon effect. Some of you probably participated in a bandwagon, maybe a sports team.
Nicholas Avis.
Nick Avis.
Well, we can say names on camera.
No one knows who Nick Avis is.
Aviator.
So what did he
Nikolai
bandwagon?
Aviation.
Every single hockey team ever
Yeah.
created.
So whoever's winning, he's like, well, I'll support this.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
And why do you think he does that?
Because he wants to seem like he's
Because
the
he's a meat rider.
he's a glazer.
Yeah, he's a glazer.
He's
There's no way you just said both those terms.
he's
Look
like
how unimpressed the girls are beside him.
He's like Kevin Durant changing teams.
he's like Phil Kessel changing teams.
Okay, so
Spanning each other.
obviously bandwagoning is you support this thing because everyone else is, right? Like, hey, what's the latest thing? You look cold. Are you cold?
No.
Anyways, emotional appeal, right? Look at that cute little baby.
Killing.
Imagine.
I hate children.
Oh my gosh. You know, if you're a parent and you're like on the fence about buying a new set of tires, you might go, oh my god, that could be my baby. I don't want my baby to die in a car crash.
The baby's in
Let's get new tires.
Oh.
What if your bad tires cause you to slip, like skid on the ice?
Be a better driver.
I said, what if the tires cause it, right? Like
Well,
if
get
you're-
control.
Yeah, freaking Honda Civic. Jesus.
Okay,
Honda.
right,
Yeah,
but
Jeep, they do.
using some sort of emotional appeal, right? They wanna play on your little heartstrings, right? This might be terrible to say, but anyone older watching this will know. Back in the day, I wanna say like UNICEF or these charity companies, organizations would like put up a picture of a starving child on the street. Like, this kid goes hungry every single day. You should donate now so that he can eat tonight.
No thanks.
Right? They show you the skinniest kid you've ever seen. They're like practically dying. In the middle of you watching your TV show, right? Because you kids all watch Netflix now.
Yeah.
Back in the day when you had TV, there was commercials in between, right? Kind of like a YouTube advertisement, but right before the good thing happens in the show. So like, what's a show you kids like? Breaking Bad, sure. So like, right before Walter has his scene where he's like, I am the one who knocks, they go to commercial. What do they hit you with? The starving kid. You're like, damn, I don't want to look at that. I don't want to feel bad. What's that?
Paw Patrol.
I don't know what Paw Patrol is.
What?
Who watches that?
Buddy,
I
I
do.
watch that. Don't diss
I'm
me.
forced to. I have a
Kids watch it
3-year-old
right now?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, it's my favorite show. I don't watch it.
Bro, you literally watch the Owl House. You're already watching kids shows.
Some people might say emotional appeal
I
is
watched
manipulative.
Sophia the First. Or no, Sophia.
Are you saying that the Owl House is a
Sophia the
good show?
First.
It literally is on Disney
I
Channel.
watched Sophia the First.
It's
Disney
a.
Channel's not a Disney, is it?
Literally.
Do not. Oh my god.
Yeah, I see.
Please tell me you don't watch Raptors Ladybug.
Don't trust me, that's somebody I like.
Okay, you also have these glittering generalities.
I love
looks
banana cream
disgusting.
pie. That's my favorite thing. to
But
eat.
come on, kids, you've never looked at a McDonald's advertisement and gone, wow, that burger looks so good, and then
No.
you get it, and it's like the worst thing you ever had.
McDonald's makes me sick, so I can't even look at
It
it.
still tastes good. It doesn't look good.
You still eat it up, eh?
I eat most things.
I eat up. not
Okay,
gonna lie.
here's like a funny McDonald's story, like a Big Mac story. Okay, maybe I've already told this. There I was I don't know, maybe right around whatever age you kids are right now.
34.
They actually
Okay. And I'm at a McDonald's, you know, I'm having a Big Mac because you've seen the Big Mac commercials. It's like, oh man, I want a Big Mac.
Do you remember the song?
I want to feel good. I want to feel great. I want to have a Big Mac.
Do you remember the song?
No, what's the Big Mac song?
I don't know.
I don't
I'm
know.
asking if you remember it.
Oh, I'm not
You don't
that
have it
old.
anymore.
I'm not that old.
You are.
Yeah, but you're older.
You're
You don't
old.
know.
Okay, so there I
You
am
look that old.
eating my Big Mac, right? She's so tired of this.
It's so
She's
mad.
done with this. I can't say it. So there I am, right, kids? I'm eating my Big Mac, and my cousin's sitting across from me, and naturally, you know, the first thing that happens when you eat a Big Mac, kids, is about 80% of it just falls out,
I know.
right? And then you gotta pick it up with your hands like a scavenger. Like, what is this? You know, it's like the goons at the McDonald's headquarters. They're like laughing doing this, knowing that you're like picking up your Big Mac off the.
It's
off
because of the
tray.
sauce.
Okay.
Obviously.
Now there I was, right? Eating my Big Mac, it's falling out, but I'm enjoying it, right? Because there was this epic advertisement. Okay. And then some kid comes out of the play place, and
No,
he
never
comes.
eat at the play place.
No, he comes out of it, right? Like
Yeah,
we're in the
never
restaurant.
Eat at that restaurant.
What do you mean? The play place was great. We went
Yeah, but
there. We went there with the
you're
basketball.
obviously gonna see kids.
Okay. So this kid comes out and he stops and he stares at us. Just me and my cousin, we're just eating our Big Macs. And this kid is standing there with his mouth open, breathing through his mouth, and he's just got a line of snot going down his nose. It was just so gross.
Exactly. Don't go to the play place one.
Never again, man. Never
The
again.
play place is the best part.
I don't care what they advertise for the Big Mac. I'll never have another one after that. I don't care what glittering generalities they give me. Okay. You have plain folks appeal. So
Plain folks.
you know, like Ford and the truck companies used to do this back in the day, grade 9. We're almost done. Okay, let's hold it together. I know it's been a while. The truck companies used to do this back in the day. They had this like old white guy farmer looking dude, and they had this like very deep voice in the back talking about how good his truck was and how it gets the job done, right? How it tows everything and how it beats the other guy. Right? They just used some normal dude. He wasn't a celebrity, not that I'm aware of. Right? But that's the whole point of plain folks appeal, right? You just relate it. Maybe you use a normal person, but you relate it to the everyday person. Okay. Testimonials. So some person, some celebrity swears to you that this is the product that makes them better every day. You know?
That's the guy that cheated on his wife.
What
His Victoria's Secret wife.
Who's his wife?
is Alexander
I don't know.
Ovechkin doing?
She was pregnant. That's all I know.
Oh man!
And they have 3 kids.
This guy, not only did he, like the guy, he burned the whole house down. He might as well. What was he thinking? What do you mean? Cheat on your wife that's pregnant? You already have 3 kids with her? That's insane. What was he thinking? He's too famous to be doing stupid stuff like that. That's insane.
He did it with multiple women too.
With what?
Multiple women.
That's understandable. You know, it's Adam Levine.
He's icky looking.
Yeah. Look under number
Oh.
8.
Scientific appeal. Do you kids remember? Did you kids ever see those advertisements for cars where they show the aerodynamics? They have it in like a wind tunnel with like a big fan, and they're showing you just how aerodynamic the car is. That's a scientific appeal, right? They want you to feel like, oh, my car's it's a bit more aerodynamic. I'll be able to drive faster.
I don't care how old.
This is
it
kind
is.
If I got a,
The engine has to use
if I got a car that's like,
Yeah,
Okay, like,
you know,
Why are you throwing up gang signs?
A rectangle, bro.
This guy's throwing up Illuminati and like sticking around. And then you went rainbow.
yeah.
What are you trying to
And
say?
it drives. It's gonna be like,
Well, that's not aerodynamic at all.
yeah, I know. So it's just not gonna move.
dude.
No, it's got an engine. It's got a lot of force, right? But it'll move more efficiently when it's aerodynamic. Right? You kids ever seen that meme? Like, there's a meme out there. It shows the aerodynamics of a cow and a jeep. Like the cow is more aerodynamic than the jeep.
Cows are cool.
Cows are great, especially on my plate.
Okay.
Okay, that ends that. I will introduce your project tomorrow.